There are a number of epithelial tissue we have studied. Epithelia means they are the structures which are covering externally and internally to the body. So epithelia, they are the group of tissues. They are derived from three embryonic layers. Embryonic germ layers are known as ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. Ectoderm is the outermost layer, endoderm is the innermost layer, mesoderm is the middle layer. The skin, and that is skin coming under the connective skin, is a type of epithelia, isn't it? So skin and also the lining, internal lining, which is named as epithelium or endothelium. All these are deriving from ectodermal origin or ectoderm. They are developing from ectoderm. And the inner mucous membrane, which lines the internal aspect of the organ, they are developing from the endoderm. Rest of the entire structures of our body are developing from the mesoderm. So these are the three layers, three preliminary layers which are responsible for the production of entire human body. So that these epithelia are involved in the processes of our body named as absorption, secretion, diffusion, and protection. These are the four functions of the epithelia. They absorb the things, they secrete the things, they help for the diffusion, and physically protect the structures. The epithelia which have got special type of action known as secretion. A group of epithelial cells together performing a secretion is known as the glands. The glands are the invaginations of epithelial tissue that will form into a typical shape. They are the invaginations of epithelial tissue that can be divided into two types. Majorly two types of glands are there, namely exocrine glands and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands and endocrine glands, they are depending upon the mode of secretion or type of secretion, we can differentiate it into two. The exocrine glands are the glands which secretes the secretion by means of ducts. A number of ducts can be seen, smallest to larger, like the veins, smallest to larger ducts can be seen. So it drains, the secretion drains from the unit of production to the target organ by means of a duct system. This type of glands are known as exocrine glands. Endocrine glands are the glands without duct is known as, or they are the ductless glands. They are known as endocrine glands. The exocrine glands and endocrine glands, they are the separation or they are the classification depending upon the mode of secretion or presence of ducts and absence of ducts. The exocrine glands examples are sweat glands, salivary glands, mammillary glands, ceruminous. Ceruminous means the glands which are present in the ear. Ceruminous glands, lacrimal glands, sebaceous glands, prostate and mucus. All these are present under the category of exocrine glands. The endocrine glands are ductless glands. The endocrine glands are pineal glands, pituitary glands, some part of pancreas, ovaries, testis, thyroid, parathyroid, hypothalamus, adrenal gland. All these are coming under the endocrine glands. The exocrine glands are secreting the secretion through the duct system. The classification depending upon the function. Classification of glands depending upon the function, we can divide it into three. That is the exocrine glands, that is this glands with duct system is dividing depending upon the function into three. They are serous salivary gland, mucous salivary gland and the mixed salivary gland. The serous salivary glands are the glands or this group of cells which produces the watery secretion or watery substance which containing the enzymes. They are named as serous glands or serous salivary glands. Serous salivary glands are the glands which produces the watery secretion, or the gland produces serous secretion or
മാം കട്ടാവുന്നുണ്ട്.
non-sticky secretion. They are the okay. They are the serous salivary glands. Serous salivary glands are the glands which produces. What about now? The glands which produces serous secretion is the
Okay, ma'am.
watery secretion. It is a watery secretion. So, second type of gland is the mucous salivary gland. The mucous salivary gland means it involves the production of mucus. That means the sticky secretion or the viscid secretion. It is not like watery. So it produces the mucus, the sticky secretion. That type of gland is known as mucous glands, which have got glycoprotein in its secretion. The glycoprotein can be seen in the secretion so that it is sticky in nature. The third type of gland is the mixed gland. The mixed glands comprises of both serous and mucus unit in it. They secrete both mixed type of substance. Serous fluid and mucus fluid can be seen as a secretion. So examples, in our body there are 3 salivary glands. Majorly 3 salivary glands and number of minor salivary glands are there. Major 3 salivary glands are named as parotid glands, submandibular gland and sublingual salivary gland. Parotid gland is coming under the category of serous salivary gland. Sublingual gland is an example for mucous salivary gland. Submandibular gland is an example for mixed type of gland. So these are the 3 types of glands. Depending upon the type of secretion or function, we can name it. Next is the classification of gland depending upon its shape. The exocrine glands can be seen in a variety of structure. Depending upon the shape, we can name it. If the secretory unit is somewhat like a tube, the secretory unit is a single lined cells. Okay, single lined cells. If it is forming like a imagination of tube or tubular in nature, then it is named as a tubular gland. If the secretory part is rounded, then it is known as alveolar or acinar. In type of pancreas or in different types of salivary glands, we can see both tubular type incorporated with the spherical type. Then it is known as tubulo-alveolar or tubulo-acinar. Like that, the duct system also can be with branched pattern or unbranched. Whether it is branched or unbranched, if it is unbranched, we can call it as a simple tubular glands or simple alveolar glands. If the duct system of that gland is branched, then we can call it as the compound tubular or compound alveolar. So this is different types of glands can be seen in this diagram. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see the diagram? Okay. Is it clear? Okay. So in this diagram, we can see this is the single unit of cell or single group of cells single layer of cell can be seen here. They are forming into a gland by folding on itself, by making a lumen at the center. Can you see my cursor moving? It is in B.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, B. Look at the picture of B. Okay, labeled as B. So here at the center you can see a small lumen and the cells are arranged in a typical way surrounding the lumen, isn't it? So the secretion occurs within the gland and passes towards the lumen by either rupturing the cell or making a small departure or a small piece of cell forming from it, or complete cell is damaging. So these are the major three types of secretion occurs towards it. Anyway, so this is the unit of cell which is together producing the secretion. So the in G you can see, look at the G, there is, you can see a pink color duct is coming and it is ending at a spherical shaped secretory unit. That is simple alveolar because the duct is simple without branching. Another thing, the simple branched alveolar, that means alveoli are branched, but the duct system is simple. So that simple branched alveolar. Next one, we can see simple tubular. The duct system along with the part of where it is secreting. That part is known as the tubular because it is in the shape of a tube, isn't it? So that it is a tubular. Then in D, you can see there is a duct system with a coiled tubular. With a coiled tubular, you can see at the terminal part it is coiled. Like that in compound alveolar. In J, there is compound alveolar with a duct system is branched so that it is compound, and again the alveoli also branched so that compound alveolar. Next, there is compound tubulo-alveolar, that is the at the terminal part or at the secretory part, before forming into alveoli, it is extending as a tubular portion, then it is forming as circular. So it is the combination of spherical and tubular. So that it is named as the compound tubulo-alveolar, and the duct system also again branched. That's why the word compound. Compound tubulo-alveolar. That is, this is the commonest type of salivary gland, compound tubulo-alveolar. And in the case of E, you can see simple branched tubular. That is, like the simple branched alveolar, here comes a simple branched tubular. The duct system ends in a branching pattern of tubules. Like that, here compound tubular, that is again here duct system also branched and the tubular secretory part also branched. So that compound tubular. So these are the different types of classification of glands depending upon the shape. Understood? All of you can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So next is about the classification by secretion of mechanism or the mode of secretion. So the exocrine glands, again, I am telling you all these are the different types of exocrine glands. That is how it is passes along with the help of duct system. Okay. So the exocrine gland, again, depending upon the mode of secretion, it is divided into merocrine glands, apocrine, CINE എന്നാണ് കേട്ടോ ഞാൻ എഴുതിയേക്കുന്നത്, പക്ഷെ CRINE ആണ് അത് കേട്ടോ. Merocrine glands, apocrine glands and holocrine glands. The exocrine glands which secretes by exocytosis, that is simply the secretion passes towards into the epithelial walled duct system, and from there it is passes towards the lumen without making any damage to the developing or secretory parts of the cell. That is that type of secretion without any disturbance to the secretory cells are known as merocrine glands. Merocrine glands. Merocrine glands are the most common and releases secretory products through the exocytosis. Okay, majorly secretory products are proteins. Next one is the apocrine glands. The apocrine glands secretes with a portion of the cell. That means it gets rid of the portion of a cell that or the plasma membrane of the cell for the secretory purpose. So it leaves some part of the cell or it removes some part of the cell along with the secretion. So that it is named as the apocrine gland. Example for the apocrine gland is the mammillary gland. mammillary gland. Next one is the holocrine gland. The third one is the holocrine gland. In that type of holocrine gland, what is the specialities? The entire glandular tissue is regenerated or degenerated. That means complete removal or complete rupture of cell occurs for as a result of secretion. As a result of secretion, the complete cell will be damaged. And that type of secretion can be seen in sebaceous gland associated with the hair follicle. Sebaceous glands, in type of sebaceous glands, we can see that type of secretion, that is holocrine secretion. The complete cell get damaged to porous secretion. So these are the different varieties of glands can be seen in your body. Now we are going to study about the histology of gland. As I have told you earlier, there are, depending upon the type of secretion, there are three types of glands: serous salivary gland, mucous gland, and a mixed salivary gland. Serous salivary gland, example parotid gland; mucous salivary gland, example sublingual salivary gland; mixed salivary gland, example submandibular salivary gland. First, we will see the diagram. Can you see the diagram?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I will make it larger. So this is how we can draw the diagram of a serous salivary gland. Can you see small rounded structures in it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That these small rounded structures represents the cut section of acini or the alveoli. Acini and alveoli are the same terms, same thing with different terms we are using it. Okay. So the alveoli or the acini can be seen as a structure which is presenting itself with a small lumen at the center. Can you see my cursor moving? Can you see it here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so at the center you can see a small lumen. At the center you can see a small lumen. Surrounding this lumen there are a layer of cell which can be seen in a pyramidal shaped cells or low columnar cells can be said. Pyramidal cells means the apex is not projected or sharp, the apex is blunt. Okay, so that you can draw the diagram like that, making arranging itself the cells surrounding a lumen, and all the cells with a blue nuclei at the center. Blue nuclei at the center you can see, and also each pyramidal cell is with a colored cytoplasm at the apex because the cytoplasm contains zymogen granules. So the zymogen granules will take stain so that the entire serous salivary gland can be seen a pink shade with eosin stained. Okay, and you can see the gland is subdivided into lobes and lobules. The entire gland, we will see how it appears under the microscope. This is the diagram showing how it appears under the microscope. Okay, 1 second. Can you see the diagram? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the appearance of the parotid gland or the serous salivary gland under the microscope. The entire gland is covered with connective tissue. So here in this diagram you can see the whitish areas, isn't it? So this whitish areas representing the connective tissue which separates the parotid gland into different lobes and lobules. The serous acini together forming into lobules. That lobules together forming into lobes. So that this is a lobe, this is another lobe, this is another lobe, this is another lobe, like lobules. These are small segments are the lobules and larger segments are lobes. So each lobes and lobules are separated by means of the connective tissue septa. that connect or the substance of the capsule of the parotid gland indented into the substance of the gland to subdivide it into lobes and lobules. That lobes and lobules have got the duct system. That means from the smallest duct arises from the alveoli or the acini. The serous acini have got a central lumen that is the smallest duct. It is named as the intercalated duct. From there, it is continuous and it joins with the rest of the intercalated ducts to form the striated duct. They are the second larger duct than the intercalated duct. They are forming into striated ducts. The striated ducts together joining to form larger ducts, they are together draining to larger ducts. They are named as the intralobular ducts. Intralobular ducts can be seen here in this diagram. You can see small vacant spaces or small holes like spaces. You can see that represents the intralobular ducts. The intralobular ducts are the ducts which can be seen at the lobule. Then this lobular duct, they are opening towards the interlobular, intralobular opening to interlobular. In between the lobules, you can see the connective tissue septum. To that connective tissue septum, there are the ducts opening. Thus, these ducts are known as interlobular. So, intralobular ducts opens to interlobular. Then, the interlobular ducts opens to interlobar ducts. Interlobar ducts. That means in between the or within the substance of the lobe, you can see the intralobar ducts. So, interlobular ducts opens to intralobar ducts. The intralobar ducts opens to interlobar ducts. That interlobar ducts are the largest ducts. They are joining to form a single duct, the parotid duct or Stenson's duct. The parotid duct opening ultimately to the mouth. So that like the venous drainage, small tributaries of the ducts, they are joining to form the larger one. The larger one passes to the ultimate target place. So that is the how appears under the microscope. So this principle, that is the duct system and the connective tissue septum, lobules, lobas, all the things, the basic anatomy or basic histology of the glands are same. Only difference is the type of acini present in it. Okay, so in case of parotid gland also there is some sort of mucus acini can be seen, but predominantly serous acini is present, so that we can make the parotid gland under or study the parotid gland under the category of serous salivary gland. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is the diagram how you are going to draw in a histology record. I will draw. I know it is not clear in the picture, but I will draw I will send the diagram in the WhatsApp group. Okay, so here you can. This vacant spaces represent. It's not vacant spaces. It's pink colored area that is representing the connective tissue septa, and within that you can draw the interlobular ducts. The specialty is that interlobular ducts are lined with the intercalated ducts, striated ducts, all these are lined with the cuboid cells or the squamous cells can be seen. So you can, this rounded structures, elongated rounded structures represents the duct system. Ducts in the connective tissue septa. So we will study the features of the serous salivary gland. The serous salivary gland, the first 2 points are common to all the salivary glands. First one, it is covered with connective tissue capsule, which sends the septa along with the blood vessels and nerves into the gland, dividing the gland into lobes and lobules. That I have already told you. The connective tissue septa divides the gland into lobes and lobules. The lobe has numerous acini, numerous intercalated ducts with less connective tissue. Lobe has numerous acini. Number of acini can be seen with a number of intercalated ducts with a little connective tissue. The salivary gland, the serous salivary gland is compound tubulo-alveolar or compound tubulo-acinar. Both are same. The acini or the alveoli, they are the unit of gland, isn't it? Acini or the alveoli, they are small sac-like dilatations located at the end of the first part of the excretory duct system called the intercalated ducts. The serous cell surrounds small lumen. Each serous cell is pyramidal shape with rounded nucleus in the lower half and zymogen granules in the upper half, due to which cytoplasm stains dark with eosin or pink colored stain can be seen in it. Intercalated duct and the striated duct, they are lined with cuboidal epithelium or low columnar epithelium. They are the infoldings. They are the infoldings of the cell membrane at the base. Interlobar ducts lined with pseudo-stratified columnar or stratified cuboidal epithelium. So that is the type of epithelium which lines the, or type of cells which is lines the duct system. Understood about the serous salivary gland?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so next one is mucous salivary gland. See how it is appearing under the microscope. Can you see the diagram? This is the mucous salivary gland under the microscope, how it appears. See the difference in case of serous salivary gland, we have seen it with colored appearance. Completely pink color. It is different in case of the mucous salivary gland. It appears as cotton balls, or it appears as the transparent structures. Only connective tissue which are separating the acini can be seen in pink color. The connective tissue which separates the acini can be seen. That means that's why the boundaries are seen in pink color. Each acini boundary shown in the picture as pink color. But at the interior of the acini, it appears as transparent in nature because of the presence of mucus in it. The mucus will not take stain, so that it appears as transparent under the microscope. It is very easy to identify. This is all other features are same in case of the mucous salivary gland also. The gland is covered with connective tissue septum, the connective tissue capsule. The connective tissue capsule passes inside the gland as connective tissue septum. Within the septum, we can see intercalated disc at the acinar level or alveolar level, striated ducts at the alveolar level, intralobular duct at the intralobular and interlobular ducts at the lobular level, intralobar ducts and the interlobar ducts at the lobar level. All other things are same in case of, except the appearance. Because of the mucus production, the cells appears as transparent in nature. Can you see the diagram? Okay, that I will make enlarged.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So here, this, because of the mucus acini, the speciality of the mucus acini is the cells are, the lumen is larger than that of the serous acini. Lumen is larger than that of the serous acini. The pyramidal cells are truncated. The lining cells also pyramidal cells, but they are truncated. Truncated means they don't have a sharp apex. Then but it is blunt or it is rounded with a rounded apex. That is truncated. Then the nuclei is specially present towards the periphery or towards the base of the pyramid. And it is elongated or flat nucleus. That is another point. Elongated or flat nucleus can be seen towards the periphery. Then the complete cell is transparent in nature. You can see the complete cell is transparent in nature without any color. Only the cell boundary can be drawn in pink color. Rest of it, the nuclei in blue color. You can see the separation in between the lobules. We have to draw with the pink shade, that is the connective tissue septum, and this large openings like structures represents the interlobular duct system, interlobular ducts. So it appears like this. Okay, so now we will learn about the features. So mucous salivary gland, first two features are same, covered with connective capsule, sense septa, dividing into lobes and lobules. Predominantly, mucous salivary gland have got mucous acini, but there is also the presence of some sort of few serous acini also can be seen. Intercalated ducts, striated ducts also present. Mucous acini, speciality of the cell is mucous cells surrounded a large lumen. Each mucous cell is columnar in shape with the flat nucleus pushed towards the basement membrane, and the cytoplasm appears pale or colorless due to washing of the mucinogen granules during the slide preparation, or we can say because of the presence of mucus we can see it as a transparent in nature. It is very simple to identify. Next type of gland is mixed salivary gland. The example is submandibular gland. The mixed salivary gland, in this diagram you can see the gland have got some sort of whitish areas, some sort of dark pink areas like that. That means here is also the presence of serous salivary gland and the mucous salivary gland can be seen. The serous and mucous salivary gland can be seen here, but predominantly serous salivary gland. Predominantly serous salivary glands are there. So another important feature can be seen in the mixed type of gland is serous demilunes. Serous demilunes. What do you mean by the serous demilune means? The mucus acini with a serous cap. Mucus acini with a crescent shaped or semilunar shaped cap of serous cells can be seen over a mucus acini. Mucus acini associated with a serous cap is known as serous demilunes. Here is also connective tissue capsule subdivide the substance into lobes and lobules. There is also intercalated, striated, lobar ducts can be seen. Connective tissue capsule is there. Connective tissue septa can be seen. And here in this diagram, small rounded structures can be seen that represents the ducts and larger ducts opening towards the connective tissue septum. So this is how appears under the microscope the submandibular salivary gland. Here, the colored dark stained area represents the serous acini and the light or pale areas represents the mucus acini. You can see the diagram. You have to draw the diagram like this. In this diagram, we can see the serous acini with a little mucus acini. Here, can you see my cursor? Can you see the cursor moving?
No, ma'am.
That is on the upper left part of the
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Diagram you can see at the center. ഒരു മൂന്ന് mucus acini ഇരിക്കുന്ന കണ്ടോ? ഈ mucus acini.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Second one, can you there is a pink colored cap. Mucus acini with a pink colored cap. So that serous thing also can be seen here. I have labeled serous demilune. Can you see demilune at the low of the labeling? Serous demilune, and locating the serous demilune, that is a crescent shaped or a semi-lunar shaped serous cap over the mucus acini. So here You can draw the mucus acini like this with a larger cells, with a larger lumen. All the other things are same. Like you can see here, the connective tissue septum can be seen, and within the connective tissue septum, I have labeled interlobular ducts. You can see the opening, rounded interlobular duct can be seen, interlobar ducts can be seen. So all other things are same. The glandular tissue is subdivided into lobes and lobules, and the duct system can be seen like this. So this is how it appears under the microscope and how we can draw the diagram. Now it's the time to learn about its features. Listen, can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see the screen? Okay, so same features are the first two. Say again, first two features are somewhat same. One second. First two features are somewhat same. They are named as, or the connective tissue septum is there. The connective tissue septum, which is dividing the cells into, subdividing into, dividing the gland into lobes, lobules. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it is subdividing into lobes and lobules. There is the presence of mucus and serous acini, and along with the serous demilunes. The serous demilunes are mucus acini capped with the serous cells. So that is all about histology of the gland. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have recorded